Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of the Daily Debate. In tonight's show, we're going to be talking about the new year 2015 and Egypt's foreign relations political plan in the upcoming year. Obviously, last few months and starting the new year, the president took and made a lot of visits to a lot of leading international countries, the international community, the latest of which is the visit to Kuwait, his first official visit as president. It was preceded by a visit to China, also visits to France and Italy as well, and later on there's another trip to Ethiopia later this month. We're going to be talking about Egypt's foreign policy, the first part of today's show. So we're going to be talking about the political stance of Turkey in light of Egypt actually amending its relations with Qatar. These are all the facts and the issues that we'll be discussing in tonight's show. But first off, let's check out this report regarding the foreign relations strategy that Egypt is undertaking over the past few months and the upcoming new year. And we'll be right back with our distinguished guests.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi paid a visit to Kuwait, during which he held talks with senior Kuwaiti officials, including Kuwaiti Emir Sheikh Sabah al-Ahmed al-Sabah, to discuss bilateral ties as well as regional and international issues of mutual interest. The head of state also met with Kuwaiti Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf al-Ahmed al-Jabir al-Sabah, Prime Minister Sheikh Jabir al-Mubarak al-Sabah, Foreign Minister Sheikh Sabah al-Khalid al-Sabah, and Parliament Speaker Marzouk al-Ghanim. The president was accompanied by a delegation of ministers in an effort to strengthen bilateral ties in various domains. The ministers of foreign affairs, petroleum, international cooperation and investment accompanied the Sisi during his trip as a show of Egypt's gratitude and appreciation for Kuwait's supportive stance toward it. First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Sheikh Sabah Khalid Ahmed Al-Hamad Al-Sabah said that 2015 is the year of Egypt, which will hold parliamentary elections, an investment conference and an Arab summit meeting in March. Sheikh Sabah Al-Khalid said during his meeting with an Egyptian media delegation who were in Kuwait to cover the visit that Kuwait was looking forward to welcoming Sisi, whose visit to Kuwait is very important given the identical views of both countries on regional and international issues. He based on the results of the 3 visits to Kuwait by former interim President Adli Mansour. He recalled that the recent meeting of the Joint Higher Commission in Kuwait discussed all aspects of bilateral ties and cooperation and led to the formation of a joint committee by the foreign ministries of both countries to tackle issues of mutual interest. Sheikh Sabah al-Khalid extolled His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah al-Ahmed al-Jabir al-Sabah and Saudi King Abdullah bin Abdul Aziz to restore Arab concord and support Egypt. He noted that the joint Kuwaiti-Saudi efforts led to the thawing of the Egyptian-Qatari ties, appreciating the wisdom of the Egyptian leaders in addressing the matter. Sheikh Sabah al-Khalid said it was very important for Egypt to resume its leading role, which would reflect positively on the Arab region and help alleviate the current shocks, voicing confidence that Egypt as leaders and people will be able to overcome the current difficulties. He stressed that thanks to its diversified resources, the Egyptian economy was able to recover at an early date. Egypt's economic recovery is beyond question, citing the major development projects being implemented as per schedule. He also affirmed Kuwait's support to Egypt and participation in the investment conference to be held in Egypt this March. He went on to say that a large economic delegation from Kuwait would take part in the conference in a bid to tap into the ample investment opportunities in Egypt. On terrorism, Sheikh Sabah al-Khalid said this menace faces all countries of the region, notably Iraq, where terrorist groups grabbed large swaths of the country. He commended Egypt's support to the Iraqi government as shown in the recent visit by Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri to Baghdad.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And before we start our discussion for tonight's daily debate, let us congratulate all the Coptic Christian Orthodox community for the Christmas and the New Year. And now focusing on President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's foreign relations strategy for the country and his latest visit to Kuwait. We're joined here in the studio by Dr. Salah Nasir, the research and development expert, and we're also joined by Mr. Yehia Negm, the political analyst and former diplomat. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
First of all, Mr. Negm, the latest in a series of a lot of travels by the presidency that took him to many countries around the world. Most of these countries are very leading in different domains in the international community. The latest visit to Kuwait, what does it first of all signify, and what is expected after this visit?
First of all, my greetings to both Christians and Muslims for the day of birth of both prophets, Muhammad and Jesus. Peace be upon them. Well, we are seeing a very active period of our foreign policy. They are trying to mend the problems and the gaps between Arab countries and between us and the outside world. In the last few months, President Sisi has made many trips outside, but right now he's concentrating on in Arab world, Arab problems. We have a lot of problems inside our borders and the Arab countries' borders. So we are trying to close the gaps between Arab countries regarding many issues, what's happening in Iraq, Syria, war and terrorism, relations with Iran and other regional and international powers. So we hope that end of the last year and beginning of this year, we would see some concrete results. We also are in need for invasions in Egypt, investments in Egypt. We have to draw investments from all over the world, especially from the Gulf states. We stood by Kuwait in the invasion in the 90s, so the same is expected from them to stand beside Egypt in these difficult times. We hope that relations between Egypt and Gulf states and the Arab world in a whole would go to the normal and to the solidarity, normal solidarity between them. This would help to tackle many problems like what's happening in Iraq, what's happening in Syria. It's a common problem for all Arab countries. We have seen that these terrorist groups, yesterday they invaded the Saudi borders between Iraq and Saudi, and they are threatening all Gulf states and Arab states. So we need solidarity, and we hope this time we will see more concrete results economically, politically, and so on.
Yes. Dr. Nasir, now this visit by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Kuwait really signifies and emphasizes the solidarity between the Gulf states and also Egypt and the whole Arab world as a whole. However, there are also a lot of economic expectations after this visit by President al-Sisi to Kuwait, and they stated that the Kuwaiti investment will also be really high in the priority list when it comes to doing and carrying out some Kuwaiti investments in Egypt. We also signed about 12 memorandum of understandings with Kuwait during this visit. What is expected economically from this visit to Kuwait, and prioritizing the Kuwaiti investor in Egypt? What can the Kuwaiti investor bring to Egypt economically?
Well, first, let me say greetings to all Egyptians in this period of the year. Okay? Second, to your question, I really feel that's great that we can have all come to Egypt and start giving hands, sort of. But again, my my hopes lie on another front, which is the internal front, which I feel like we have to be ready to do whatever is necessary so that we can capture the opportunity of the moment. In other words, they are ready to come. This is one part. The more important or no less important is that are we ready to capture this this unique opportunity that's available not only for this, especially Kuwait. Last year, sometime at the end of last year, they had some big event capturing most of the African nations. And if we are to make use of this particular visit and these relations, so that we will work as the hub between Kuwait, the Gulf, and Africa.
Yes.
It's our role, and we better resume this role that was within our grasp some decades back.
Yes, and do you feel that Egypt is ready domestically, internally, to actually capture such opportunities?
Well, this is a good question. I feel personally that this administration is doing its best to do whatever is necessary for that to happen. In fact, a couple of weeks back, we had the opportunity personally to have some conference whereabout we had top-notch scientists and from Russia and came here, and the Prime Minister had this was under his auspices, and there's some encouragement from a number of ministries, and this opens the door for Egypt to be ready to offer the investors really very attractive offers.
Yes.
And this is quite encouraging.
Important, definitely. Mr. Negm, as you've pointed out, this visit really underlines the importance of having a strong sort of correlation or solidarity within the Arab world, having the main Gulf countries as really important and big players. Now, remodeling and redrawing the political roadmap and Egypt's relations with the international community, is it important now, is it more important now to have such a strong Arab front with the international community in light of the huge change that took place in the Arab world and the Middle East over the past few years?
Yes, I believe it was proven that no one country can do it alone. Syria did not, Iraq did not, Libya did not, Tunisia. It was proved in these past few years that we are a big nation divided in small countries. So we need this solidarity, which is very natural. What happened in Tunisia affected what happened in Egypt, then Syria, then Libya. So we are seeing a domino effect in the Arab world. It's far beyond doubt. So we need, all these Gulf states are relatively small countries. They need protection, they need some help, they need manpower, even Egyptian